All right, I'm gonna take you through a little 8-minute mobility flow. This one is targeting the hips. So if you struggle at all with your squat depth, you can't get below parallel or too parallel with your squats, you struggle getting into a good position in your deadlifts, your cleans, your snatches, those sort of movements where you're pulling from the ground. And furthermore, you struggle from low back pain, low back stiffness, tightness, especially after you train squats, lunges, deadlifts, things like that, you're gonna wanna commit to doing this 8-minute flow pretty much every single day. This is something that I've been doing for years. I used to struggle horribly from low back pain, and it was due to tight hips. And so we gotta open those hips up. This flow is gonna hit all the areas that you need to help improve hip mobility. And so what you'll find are your squats are gonna improve, your deadlifts are gonna improve, your positioning on things like deadlifts, cleans, snatches are gonna improve. Anything that you're pulling from the ground that you need to get low and in good position for is going to improve, but most importantly, you're gonna feel so much better because we're gonna open everything up that is typically super tight with most guys, especially if you sit for long periods during the day, if you're in a car for long periods of the day, you're definitely gonna wanna focus in on this hip mobility flow. So it's super simple. First 2 movements, we're gonna go 90 seconds per side. And those first 2 movements are 2 of my favorite hip openers. So the first one is I'm gonna go 90 seconds per side, big lunge mobility stretch. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna step up with my front leg, doesn't matter which one you start with. Ideally, you get to a point where your hands are flat on the floor, that front foot is even with those hands, okay? If you struggle to get into this position, you can elevate your hands on something like a small box or a medicine ball or something like that to help get that front foot in position. But you need to keep working on it until you get to this point, and you will when you dedicate time to this. So we're in the big lunge stretch here, and it's not an actual stretch, so it's a mobility movement. So we're gonna be moving around, kind of rotating the hips forward to the inside. But what you wanna make sure is knee is out, front foot is flat, hands are on the inside, and I'm kind of pushing that knee out. You can go elbow to instep if you want, kind of rotate to the front. But you're gonna feel this stretching in the hip flexor back here and the trail leg, but also we're gonna be hitting this front hip. Okay, so a little look from the front. So front foot is flat, knee is out. Again, I can kind of mobilize here, try to move into all these positions. During that 90 seconds, you're just kind of trying to find those tight spots, kind of rotate in and out. So first 90 seconds, big lunge. Second 90 seconds, big lunge. Then we're gonna go into hip flexor stretch. So now we're sitting up nice and tall. There's a big difference. It looks the same, but it's not the same. Set up here, on my back knee, front foot slightly gonna be in front of the knee, so the ankle is in front, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna roll into the stretch. So a couple things, hands on hips, brace your core as if somebody's gonna punch you in the stomach, because we wanna be tight here, so we hit the psoas as well, right? So once I tighten up, get the core tight, I'm gonna roll into the stretch. And now I'm gonna feel that in the hip flexor. If you're super tight, you're gonna feel it in the quad. We wanna roll as deep as we possibly can. Kind of hold it there. We can rotate a little bit inside, outside here to really hit that hip flexor in the hip, in the back. And we're gonna hold this for 90 seconds. We're gonna just chill out in this area. We'll switch sides. Same thing, I set up tall, brace, roll forward. You can really feel that in the hip flexor and the quad. If you're a little bit more advanced and you wanna get a bigger stretch out of this, what you can do is you can reach back, grab that foot, pull it tight to your butt. Everything else remains the same. Draw that core in, push that forward. You can lean on that front knee if you want, but basically it's like a super hip flexor stretch right here. There's also another variation. You can sit against the wall, put your foot up against the wall, and lean back, hit that hip flexor. So you're gonna go 90 seconds on each side of there. So that takes care of 6 minutes, right? So we got 2 minutes left. The next movement that we're gonna do is we're gonna open up the hips big time here with a little Cobra. And so the Cobra that I like to do, I turn it into a little bit more of a mobility movement. So we're gonna add some movement to it. But first the setup, this is a double whammy. So you're gonna hit your forearms as well. We're gonna get a good stretch in the forearms. So what you wanna do is try to point your fingers back towards you, and then you're just gonna push your legs back a little bit here, and we're just gonna sink into this position. Let those hips stretch, open up the core here, and we're gonna rotate side to side, and we're just kind of letting those hips drag behind, try to relax as best you can. Keep those front arms locked out. Really push your chest through your arms and just chill. So we hold this for a good minute right here. Relax, and then the last one is gonna be a squat sit. So what you need is a couch. You can use a post. anything that you can grab and brace onto, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna sit into a nice deep squat. We're gonna be nice and tall at the chest. We're gonna wanna lean back just a little bit to get a real big stretch in the bottom of the squat. So what you're gonna do, set up about an arm width in front of whatever you're holding on to, and then feet flat on the floor. We're gonna go ahead and get into a big, nice deep squat. And as you notice, my chest is up nice and tall. I'm gonna push those knees out, and I'm just sitting back on the heels, and I'm bouncing around, kind of sitting in that deep squat right here. So we're gonna hold this for a good minute. Bounce around, and I'm gonna show you here from the front. In that squat, feet need to be shoulder width apart. So you can really work the bottom of this squat, especially since you're holding on to something. It's gonna allow you to get deeper than you usually do. And so as you notice, I'm rotating left to right. I'm not letting my knees cave in, so I'm staying on the ball, or on the heels, on the outsides of my feet, okay? Don't let your feet collapse in. Stay in a good squat position here. So you hold that for a minute, you're gonna be feeling amazing. If you wanna add a little bit of extra time to those last two, you certainly can, but when it's all said and done, it's 8 minutes. 8 minutes that when you put into you every single day, you're gonna improve that hip mobility. But like I said, more importantly, for a lot of guys out there, if you suffer from low back pain, your back tightens up on you during workouts, this will make a huge difference. So dedicate the time, do it every single day. The more you do it in the front, over time, as you loosen up, as your mobility improves, you're gonna have to do it less and less and less, to the point where you just do it a couple times a week just to serve as maintenance. But you gotta earn that first. So put in the time, put in the effort, you'll reap the rewards.